Hey everybody, welcome back. So this week's video is going to be none other than picking my February TBR. I can't believe we're in the second month of 2025 almost already, and I can't wait. I'm so excited, so let's get picking. So as I say, we've got three different things to choose from. So we haven't actually picked our book of the month for February yet. I will probably just add that on, like our book club read, I'll add that on at some point in the month. Hopefully it's not a chunky one, but we'll see. So my first picks I'm going to do are going to be the series and the reread. So they are both in one little jar together. The rereads I luckily have because, again, my lovely friend Erica made me little books that were what I read in 2024. So what I've done is I've added 3 into here, and then we'll see what we get. Then also in this jar is my series collection. So this only includes fantasy series because, as I mentioned probably in previous videos, I have to read a fantasy series all in one go. So that's what is contained in this one. Then the other jar that I've got is the TBR jar. So this is all in here is TBR, little TBR prompts that I will pick out, and then we can sort of choose a book together. I'm going to go with, I think, 8 books this month. Unfortunately, if this does land and I happen to read one of the series, I know that is 8 books long. So this video could be very short or very long. So let's pick the reread first. So I know that's going to feel different to the other ones. So let's see what we've chosen. So we have the Fine Print by Lauren Asher. So this is part of the Dreamland Billionaire series. So this is going to be the reread for February. Then let's pick the series. This is actually quite scary. I'm really nervous. Right, what is it? Okay, so we've got the Crown of Nyaxia series and the novella. So let me go and grab all of those books and then we can carry on picking. Okay, so I've picked up the Fine Print. So as I say, this is going to be the reread that I'll be doing. The reason I'm doing these, and I'm only doing them, I think, yeah, with my romance books, ones that I finished quite early on last year, is because I just want to see if I still rate them as highly as I do now. And then if I don't, I'll probably end up getting rid of them and getting more books on my bookshelf. So then we've got for the pick of the series, so this is the one that I'm going to be reading. I know there are more books. There is one more book out at the moment to do with this series, and the next one I believe comes out this year. But the way that Carissa Broadbent has made this is so that they're basically duologies together, and they're each going to have their own duology. So we've got the Serpent and the Wings of Night is the first. Then in between that, you don't have to read it if you don't want to, is 6 Scorched Roses. So this is the little novella in between. And then the other one is the Ashes and the Star-Cursed King. So that is the second bigger book. So yeah, that's going to be the series we're going to read this month. So I've now got to pick another 4 books. So let's get choosing. Right, I'm going to try and get my fingers in this, but it might be quite difficult. These always make me panic because I don't know what I'm going to choose. So let's have a look at this one. You might not be able to read these because the writing is really tiny. So this says, read a book with a 3-word title. Okie dokie. Let's have a browse on the shelves and see what I can pick up. Okay, so I've picked 3 books. There was loads. There was actually more than I thought there was going to be. So I've picked out 3 books. So we'll have a look at them together and then I'll decide what I want to read. So the first one I've picked up is, oh, not even 3. It's technically 4. So scrap that. We'll try again. So the Kite Runner is the first one. So this is quite an emotional read. I assume quite a few people sort of recommend this book. So it's about, I believe, Afghanistan. Yeah, and it's quite an emotional one. So that's one of the contenders, and then the second one is The Four Winds by Kristen Hannah. So I've only ever read one of Kristen Hannah books, which was The Nightingale. Absolutely loved it so much, and I'm hoping I'm going to enjoy the rest of them. Looking at the back, this is, so it's set in 1934, about a girl that's finally found the life she'd yearned for, a family, a home, a livelihood on a farm on the Great Plains. But when drought threatens all that she and her community hold dear, Elsa's world is shattered to the winds. So I'm guessing that's where the title comes in. I'm going to see if I've got another one while I'm on here with you. Okay, yes, I do. So a thriller book, so Behind Closed Doors. So it says, everyone knows a couple like Jack and Grace. He has looks and wealth. She has charm and elegance. You might not want to like them, but you do. You'd like to get to know Grace better, but it's difficult because you realise they are never apart. Some might call this true love. Others might ask why Grace never answers the phone or can't meet for lunch without Jack, and why there are bars on one of the bedroom windows. So this is a thriller book that was highly, highly recommended to me. So they are the three that we've got to choose from. It's really difficult. So obviously I already have a romance to reread. I have a fantasy sort of duology series. So I'm kind of thinking I might do a thriller. So I think I'm going to go with Behind the Closed Doors by B.A. Paris. So that's our first of our TBR Prompts and our fifth read of February 2025. Okie dokie, so I'll try and do this one a bit better and actually be able to count words in a title. So it's going to be our sixth book, but our second prompt. So let's see what is in this one. Read a book with a cover you dislike. Oh dear. Okay, let's have a look and see what I can find. Okay, I've got two. The reason I've picked these is because I'm not a fan of real people on the front of a cover. So this is why I've picked these two books, and they are, well, not similar, but they're in the same genre sort of. So the first one is SAS Rogue Heroes. This is by Ben McIntyre. So this is actually a series on either BBC One or Channel 4, I can't remember, and I've just watched the next series of this on there. So I wanted to pick up the book to see how similar it was. So for those of you that haven't watched it or read this book, it is about, so in the summer of 1941, at the height of war in the Western Desert, a bored and eccentric young officer, David Sterling, came up with a plan that was radical and entirely against the rules, a small undercover unit that would inflict mayhem between enemy lines, hence why we've got SAS. So if you can see that up close, you have got, I just go to him as Cook out of, I can't remember what the series is called now. It had like Cook, Freddie, Effie, that. So it's got him in it. It has, is it Adam out of, oh, my memory today, Sex Education, and then Harry Styles is also in it as well. So yeah, that's the first contender. And then the other one is A Man Called Ove. I think that's how you say it. So this is by Frederick Backman. I've never read any of Frederick Backman's books. Again, I watched this, I want to say it was a film, I can't remember, on Netflix. Really, really, really enjoyed it. And I, again, wanted to buy the book because I did watch it, but it was sort of one of those things that you end up putting on in the background and don't really pay much attention. So both of these are going to be very emotional in their own separate ways. So it's sort of deciding which one I want to read. It's probably going to be, I think I'm going to have to do A Man Called Ove, because this is one I paid the least attention to when I watched it. The SAS Rogue Heroes, I really paid attention to. So I feel like I need to leave that a little bit longer before I pick that one, to sort of forget a little bit. Whereas this one I didn't. So this is the second TBR prompt pick for February. Okay, so we're now on to book 7. So let's have a look and see what is in this one. Read an author's debut novel. Okay, let's see what I've got, if I have any, and we can have a look and pick one of them. Okay, so I had more than one, but a lot of them are series of books, which obviously I'm not reading because I pick a series a month. So I've actually only got one other book that is a debut novel. When you do a bit of digging, you realise they brought out so many more books compared to the books you've got on your shelves. And that is The Friend Zone by Abby Jimenez. This is quite a new book. I was kindly gifted this by somebody. And it looks like, so obviously it's a fantasy book. It says, he's the best man and that's the problem. Kristen Peterson is perfectly fine. She has friends she'd fight to the death for and the very best dog in the world. Stuntman Mike, everything's calm and peaceful in the world of Kristen until he starts to plan her best friend's wedding and meets the best man, Josh Copeland. Josh is funny, sexy, stands up to her sarcasm and is always one snack ahead of her hangry. Even stuntman Mike adores him, but he wants a big family and Kristen knows children are probably not part of her future. She's sure he'd be better off with someone else, someone who can give him everything he wants, so Kristen keeps him at arm's length in the friend zone. But as their attraction grows, it's harder and harder to resist falling for the man who seems to be everything she's not allowed to have. So I'm slightly concerned about this because I have a feeling, reading the back of that, this might be Friends to Lovers, potentially, which I'm not a massive fan of. So it is going to go on as per the rules of picking the TBRs for every month. We'll see how we go. I love Abby Jimenez's writing, so I'm really hoping her writing sort of draws me in, and it's a really good book. So that is our 7th book for February's TBR. Right, the final pick. What do we have? Read a book by an author with the same initial as you. Okay, we will have a browse and see what I can find. So mine is an E, so this will be quite interesting to see what I've got. Okay, so this one again was nice and easy. I only have one book on my shelf, and that is Scarred by Emily McIntyre. So I read Hooked at the beginning of last year, and from what I can remember, they are sort of retellings of some of our favourite sort of, not fairy tales, but kids' stories. So Hooked, which is the first in this series, was sort of a Peter Pan retelling where Hook is the main character. So they are sort of on the cusp of dark romance. So I believe this one can be interpreted in 2 ways. So some people are saying it's like Hamlet and some people are saying it's like The Lion King. So I'm quite excited to read the second one of this. And yeah, we've now got dark romance on the list, which is interesting. So there we have it. These are my 8 books that I plan on reading in February, plus the book club pick, which we haven't chosen yet. So I'm really excited to see what that was. It's a nice mix of genres. We've got all sorts in here, which I absolutely love. Thank you all so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you soon. Bye.